Hey guys, today I'm going to be showing you exactly where to place your feet off of 1 foot and 2 foot jumping. And if you do this correctly, you are going to jump higher instantly.
Oh my God.
There is literally no information anywhere else on the internet about this. This is something that I wish I would have had as a resource when I was younger. It would have helped me a lot. Hope you guys enjoy it. And then at the end of the video, we're going to be showing you guys drills for both 1 foot and 2 foot jumping that you can use to learn the foot placement. First thing I do is if I just want to do a straight up jump at the hoop, whether for a one-hander or a height check, I want to start a little bit angled from the hoop. So you don't want to be straight on, you want to go here. The reason we go at an angle is so that you can curve. What doing a curve does is it lowers you, right? So the two things that we want to be when you're jumping at takeoff, right? Right at this point right here, you want to be low and you want to be having a lot of speed going in. What adding the curve does is it lowers you, right? If you were to run straight here, right? Pay attention to where my head is, my center of mass is, right here, right? Versus if I run a curve, my center of mass is a little bit lower, right? So that's why we want to curve into the approach. How I start every single approach is with a skip. Now, this is technically optional, but I urge you to choose something that you can keep consistent every single time. Skipping into the approach basically allows my brain to understand, oh, it's go time, we're about to jump. Done this thousands of times, and it just helps me pattern my jump approach. It's really similar to guys having a free throw routine when they're shooting a free throw. Typically, when you do a jump approach, you do anywhere from 4 to 6 steps. What I'm gonna be covering in this video is a 5-step approach. I found that that is what gives the best combination of control and also speed into the approach. With 4 steps, it's hard to get enough speed into the approach. 6 steps, I start seeing guys be way more inconsistent with their jumps. Usually they blow through the takeoff, and it's also hard to gauge the distance away from the rim. I have found 5 steps to be the best thing. Having said that, we skip, go toe, and then this is step 1. On step 2, you're gonna plant again on the toe. So I'm gonna go over what we have so far. Skip, toe, toe. Right, we're here. Being on the toe is important because it allows you to run faster. If you go heel first, you're gonna tend to break on these steps. So that's why I go toe, toe. Now, the 3rd step is where things get really interesting. So we skip, toe, toe. Then on the 3rd step, you have 2 options. You can plant flat-footed or slightly heel first. I don't like to do a big heel contact, because then you're gonna break a lot and lose speed, and it'll basically render the entire beginning of the approach obsolete and pointless, all right? So plant that flat-footed or slightly on the heel. So it looks like skip, toe, toe, slightly heel or flat-footed, and then you should be in this position. Here's when you're a little bit lowered, all right? And then from here, you go into your penultimate step, the last 2 steps. You push, and then you land heel first on the plant leg of the penultimate. Now, it's not directly heel like this. You're gonna plant your left heel first, but it's not gonna be straight on. It's gonna be slightly externally rotated, and it's gonna be on the left side of your left heel, right? So it's not directly down the middle, right? It's not here. It's not on the right side, it's on the left side. You're gonna be slightly externally rotated. From here, your left foot is gonna roll through and come up on its toe. So a back angle, left side of your left heel, gonna roll through and come up on the toe. Don't leave it flat like this, right? Weight's gonna be shifted forward on the toe. One more time, heel, toe. And as the weight is transferred to your toe, you plant the block foot. You're gonna plant the block foot and you're gonna stab it into the ground, just the forefoot. Don't contact the heel at all with your block foot. And then how the foot placement is gonna look, it's gonna be left foot, externally rotated slightly, right foot in front like this. So if the hoop is directly in front of you, you're gonna be on your toe, and then the right foot is gonna be slightly in front of the left foot, turned in on the toe. It's not super important. You don't have to be really exaggerated like this, although a lot of jumpers like air up there are exaggerated. It can look like your heel's on the ground as long as the weight is not on your heel. The weight should be on the forefoot, right? So you're here, here, okay? So just to go over it again really quickly, skip on the toe, right foot on the toe, left foot on the toe, flat foot or slightly heel contact, penultimate, left side of the left foot, roll onto the toe as your block foot stabs at the ground. all right? And that is how you do the left-right approach. Now, if you're a right-left jumper, everything would be flipped. So use all the cues I just talked about. Now it would be skip on the toe, right foot, left foot on the toe, right foot on the toe, left foot, slightly heel contact or flat-footed, penultimate, right side of the right heel, roll onto the toe as your left foot stabs the ground, all right? Replay that a few times if you need to, but that is the footwork for a 2-foot jump approach. All right, guys, so the drill to learn how to do this is literally just walkthroughs. Walkthrough is one of the most important things that I ever did to learn technique, and it can fast track your progress immensely. You can practice walkthroughs whether you're at your house, at school, doing groceries, literally anywhere where you have space to walk, you can practice these concepts. And it's literally just walk through the entire approach. So it's literally, I think, toe, toe, flat foot, penultimate, block foot. And then I just do that over and over again. You can do both sides at the same time. So for right, left, be toe, toe, flat foot, penultimate, block foot, right? Practice just fully getting low here, extending that back leg, punching the block foot, and then you can practice individual parts of the approach. So you can practice just the penultimate over and over again. Just doing this, boom, walk through, boom, walk through, right? Right, left, boom, walk through. And then you can just add steps to the entire approach. I actually used to do this, imagining I'm doing like a 10-step approach and kind of quick. So boom, 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 penultimate. And that's gonna teach you the coordination and how to be able to pull this off like in games if you're on a fast break and stuff like that. And it's gonna make a short approach feel way easier in comparison.
If you wanna maximize your potential and add inches to your vertical, then you need to train right. Why not train optimally by getting John Evans and Isaiah Rivera to write your own training? THPstrength.com. Go ahead and sign up, link is in the description. Now let's listen to John with his 1-foot technique breakdown.
All right, guys, so when you're doing 1-foot approaches, there's 2 different styles of 1-foot jumping. There's power jumpers and there's speed jumpers, and the footwork of each are slightly different. I actually like to call them toe draggers or butt kickers because it has to do with the recovery of your penultimate step after toe off, and I'll explain that in a second. So leading into the jump, like Isaiah said, a gallop in is very effective. A lot of guys will do this. Jordan Sutherland does a gallop in. I do a gallop in as well. So a gallop in does set up the rhythm. This does, in a way, prepare you neurologically for the approach that's about to come. This is a little bit complex, but there is potentially something to it where essentially your brain starts to recruit those muscles before you actually perform the jump itself. Typically when I throw a lob, I'm on the ball of my feet. I throw the lob, I hop twice on the ball of my foot, and then I do a 3-step approach off of that. So I'll throw the lob, gallop, gallop, and then go left, right, left into the jump. A right foot jumper, this would obviously be the reverse. So you can do the gallop in with the right foot forward or the left foot forward. Either way is fine, and you can either do 3 or 4 steps. It does kind of depend on preference. For the walkthroughs, probably the most important thing is the setup of the final 3 steps. So if you're a power jumper, you're gonna be going left, right, left. So as they're coming in for those final 3 steps and setting up the rhythm, they're on the ball of the foot in a slight knee bend. I almost call this like a velociraptor position because that's almost what it feels like. And they're essentially uprighting and their shoulders are coming back as they plant the penultimate step. At this point, there's 2 ways to do the arm action. One way is to do a running arm action. The other is to do what is a pendulum or double arm action. If you're gonna do the pendulum arm action, you almost wanna be clapping over your leg, so your hands will kind of come up and in front. So as you plant this foot, you wanna plant on your heel and roll through this contact. What this does is this lowers you. The further you are in front, typically the more braking forces you have. The more underneath yourself that you are, the less braking forces you're gonna have. The problem is if you're too far out in front, you're gonna be able to get really low, but you're gonna slow down a lot. If you're too far under yourself, you're probably not gonna be able to lower much at all. So this is for power jumping or toe draggers, so keep that in mind. As you plant this, you'll roll through the foot. What I like to say is roll the knee to the ground, and you actually wanna push the hip forward. And you can just practice this drill from the side. You just would plant your penultimate step or the right, roll through that foot, bridge behind you, and put the left leg straight out in front of you. And this is the footwork you wanna practice over and over and over again. So I'll show you guys this again. Left foot comes down, right foot comes down. The hands are in front of you in this position, and you roll and put that leg out in front of you as you push your left hip forward. One thing I've noticed that really helps with this is actually squeezing my right hip, because that pushes both of my hips forward and gives you this nice alignment. So this is the position you should be in right here. When you plant your takeoff leg, it should be either flat foot or on the heel. The reason for this is that you're leaning back and you want to brake effectively during this contact. This is what allows you to go vertical and converts all that speed upwards. So as you roll through this step and push the hip forward, your arms will be back behind you. From this position, all you're gonna do is drive the arms and the leg in unison upwards, as well as push up through your leg as aggressively as you possibly can. In terms of the footwork, so when you plant the left leg or your takeoff leg in this scenario, if you're a left leg jumper, that foot should be on the heel and across the midline. High jumpers do this if you watch them regularly, and it's a very easy way to identify if you're doing it wrong or right, is if you plant across that midline and it feels balanced. So if you can stand in this position and balance, you're probably in the right position. If you plant like this, you'll kind of feel like you're falling over and you're probably not in a balanced position. Ideally, we want our center of mass to travel right over the center of the foot. So practicing this position here and kind of leaning a little bit is a very good way to practice the footwork and the positioning that you're supposed to be in. Like I said, at this point, the arms should be back. A lot of athletes will lean inwards. If you watch high jumpers, this also lowers you slightly. From this point, you're able to load up your ass, you're able to load up your left leg a lot, and then get a big push up off of that leg. Similarly to this, there's something called speed jumping. In speed jumping, the only difference that happens is what happens during the penultimate step and how fast your arms move. Typically, speed jumpers will use the other arm action, which is a running arm action, and this would almost be exactly what you would expect in a regular running takeoff. Long jumpers do this, but they essentially will just run off the ground, right? What makes this different though is the penultimate step behind their body, they'll still lower. The hand will come out in front of their body. Similarly to running, as the right leg's in front, the left arm's in front. They'll roll through this takeoff, and as the left leg comes out in front, they will be in this running position here, where the right arm's forward, the left leg's forward, right? Biggest difference is what happens at your foot. Your foot will actually flick backwards instead of dragging across the ground. So in a power jump, you're here, but your toe will drag across the floor usually, and you'll see athletes actually create scuffs, or they'll scuff the back of their leg. In speed jumping, what they'll do is they will flick this leg backwards as they drive this left arm forward. So kind of does this running arm action. Some athletes like Jordan Wessner will actually hold the ball almost like in front of their body like a dinner plate, and will actually curl and press the ball as they drive up their left arm, so it looks like this. This happens very, very quickly, and so it's important to keep the arms high and in position so that you're able to recover the foot quickly as well as drive the arms in unison. So now the two drills that I would do is one for power jumping and one for speed jumping. So I like to practice the last 3 steps, and I will just walk through focusing on a lot of the big picture things that we talked out. So if I'm gonna do a left-footed jump, I'm gonna practice planting the left leg, making sure that my penultimate step comes down on the heel, and pretty much with my shin vertical. So from the side, the shin should be vertical, the hand should be kind of hanging over this right leg, and I'm gonna practice rolling through this foot, keeping my hips low, rolling the knee to the ground, and throwing that left leg out in front of me. One other thing that you want to make sure you do is this toe should be face forward or very slightly turned outwards. Now, if you run a curve, that's going to happen naturally and you probably don't have to think about it. So going through this drill, I'll practice left, right, the hands come out in front of me, roll through, the hands come back, and then I'll drive the hands up and forward with the knee. And I'll just walk through that over and over and over again, focusing mostly on this rolling step. So those, honestly, the last 2 strides. So it's walking, right leg comes out in front, hands are in front of me, roll through this, right knee dips down to the ground. I'm in this balanced position, this leg's totally straight. You'll kind of feel your butt cheek recruiting a lot of muscles, and then you just drive and push up out of that position. For speed jumping, it's the same exact thing, but you're gonna do that running arm action and you're gonna practice the toe flick. So from the side, if you guys are watching this, I'm in this position, opposite leg, opposite hand, and I'm just gonna roll through into the takeoff position. Again, you guys are seeing this kind of like leaned in, slightly twisted position, and I'm just gonna practice flicking this foot, like I'm kicking up dirt, like a bowl or something else. So from this position, flick and drive the left arm forward.
Thank you guys for watching. Learning jump technique could instantly add inches to your vertical, especially if you're a beginner. So if you took anything away from this video and it actually helped you, let us know in the comments. Or if you had any questions, again, you can let us know in the comments and we'll try and get back to you guys. Also, for more free content on jumping, training, and everything around dunking, go ahead and subscribe. If you feel like you learned a lot, also leave a like. Until next time, catch you guys later.